Hello, I'm Peter Faber and this is my colleague Ian de Jager. Today we will be discussing how to advance rehabilitation through the use of technology. If you're a healthcare professional and you prescribe exercises to your patients, this session is for you.
We are going to discuss the rehabilitation process, some challenges we might find and solutions to those challenges.
For instance, are you still using a paper-based system to guide your patients? Do you feel limited in the ways that you prescribe exercises?
Do you know if your patients are compliant, and do you have a feedback system for your patients? If not, don't you think there might be a better way?
So this is just a small disclosure. The software that we're using is called Rehabit and we developed it ourselves. If you would like any more information about the software, you can feel free to give us an email. We will be dropping our emails at the bottom after the presentation.
Some common objectives when helping our patients are to see them improve in function through activities of daily living. This usually involves a reduction in pain. We measure this through questionnaires and patient feedback, and we refer to this as patient-reported outcomes.
Yeah, and the second objective is to see an increase in your patient's function. You can test your patient's function by doing some clinical testing. Clinical tests include strength testing, flexibility testing, range of motion testing, and special tests.
We are going to take you now through the rehabilitation process, some of the challenges out there and solutions using technology. We're going to have a demo patient, Patrick Teller, who recently moved from road running to trail running and the load injury led to tendinopathy.
So firstly, we're going to identify Mr. Patrick Teller's levels of pain, level of function and level activity through giving him a Vis-a-Vis questionnaire, and we will also be assessing his levels of pain through a pain provocation test using the single leg TRX squat.
Yes. We then designed a program prescription using Breda et al.'s article we referenced towards. We gave him an isometric program, an isotonic program, and a plyometric program, and advised him to do these programs on specific days throughout the rehabilitation process.
So Ian, what are some of the challenges that you face during the rehabilitation process?
Well, I think in our practice and maybe in some of your practices, just measuring and monitoring compliance with our patients, receiving feedback from remote patients and helping and progressing those remote patients. In practice, actually, when you see multiple patients at once, how do you prevent loss of quality, losing quality in your treatment?
Yeah, some of the challenges that I face is adjusting the patient's program and then also sending those adjusted programs to the patients.
Yeah.
Manually inserting, comparing and writing reports that you can send to other clinicians as well. And then something I struggle with as well is what do I do with all the data that I collect? Sometimes it has the tendency to become a history log instead of dynamic information that you can use to treat your patients better.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, this all can be grouped into three categories: treating our patients, collecting the data, and lastly, comparing and reporting on that data. So let's get to the meaty stuff. Why is compliance important? There was a study done in 2017 where you had patients with adolescent idiopathic scoliosis. They had two groups, a control group that had bracing alone and an exercise group where they had scoliosis specific exercises with bracing. They found that scoliosis specific exercises with bracing were far superior to bracing alone. They further then subdivided this exercise group into subgroups, compliant versus non-compliant. They found that in the compliant group, everyone either improved or stayed the same, but no one worsened. In the non-compliant group, they actually found that 46% worsened and no one improved.
How about treating remote patients? I know in my practice and in some of your practices, all of our patients can't come into the practice that often. Thus, it makes it difficult for us to communicate with those patients, get feedback from them and guide them through their home exercises and programs. The feedback is important from our patients so that we can progress and regress their home exercise programs. A paper-based system emphasizes this problem. When the evaluation is done, you give your patient a home program to follow for a couple of weeks. You are hoping that they are doing their home program and that they are doing the exercises correctly, if at all. Motivation seems to decrease when there's no one around to ensure that you're doing your exercises and to ensure that you're doing your exercises correctly. According to Good et al., some of the barriers related to non-compliance are pain during exercise, confusion regarding the exercises, low efficacy and poor social support.
Yes, they also found that unsupervised program prescriptions are not as effective because the quality of the exercises cannot be ensured.
Now that we've looked at the first challenge in treating your patients, let's have a look at how you can improve your programs by making the programs more interactive for your patients, more dynamic for the practitioners, as well as how to monitor compliance even better. We made a simple home exercise program for Patrick Taylor using Rehabit. Let's have a look.
A program is made up of the following: a header for your practice information, the name of the program and a short description. Circuits, which can be used to group exercises. Exercises, which come with instructions, customizable specifications and notes. Each exercise has pictures and videos that demonstrate how to do the exercise correctly. Each exercise has a response section that the patients can use to submit feedback to the practitioners. This program only contains 2 exercises, but it's quite easy to add more from the official exercise library. You can even upload your own exercises and use that. Once you've built your program, you can send it to your patients via email or WhatsApp.
Now we've discussed how a paper-based system makes it difficult for patients to do exercises correctly. Us as practitioners, on the other hand, also need information from our patients. We need to know, do they experience pain during the exercise? Where do they experience pain during the exercise, and is there any difficulty performing the exercise? Now they can send you a WhatsApp or SMS describing the pain, but how do you correlate that with the paper-based program that you send home with them? And then you also need to do an evaluation at some point. How do you make sure you don't lose any information in this process? An interactive program would be the solution to this. Let's see how that looks like on Rehabit.
Let's send a program to a patient and then view it from the patient's perspective. We'll share it via WhatsApp. The patient can open up the program on a computer, a tablet or a smartphone. The first exercise is a seated machine leg extension. If the patient experiences any pain, they can click on the Any Pain button, which opens up a dialog box. They can then specify which side they are experiencing the pain on, or general pain if it's not on a specific side. They can adjust the slider to the appropriate pain experience and submit the results. The fatigue dialog works similarly to the pain one. They can also submit a comment with additional information. This information is readily available to you under the patient's profile.
Thank you, Patrick Taylor, for giving us that feedback. We as practitioners will now use that feedback to dynamically adjust your exercise program.
What do you mean by dynamic, Pete?
Well, a dynamic program is a program that can be modified easily. By modifying the sets, reps and tempo, you can even include different exercises within that program. Once you've adjusted it on your side, it will be automatically updated when the patient clicks on the link again.
That's amazing.
Let's have a look.
Let's see how we can adjust the program. We'll tweak the reps and sets of the leg press exercise. We'll head over to the program builder and edit the leg press exercise specifications. There are many parameters we can adjust, but for now, we'll just reduce the sets to 3 and the reps to 12. The next time the patient opens up their program, they will see the adjusted parameters.
Great. Now that we've looked at interactive programs for our patients and how we as practitioners can dynamically adjust that, we need to look at compliance. We've seen that non-compliance can lead to a lack of results. Now, how can we monitor compliance? Let's use Patrick Taylor again as an example. Following Britta et al.'s article, we wrote him a 3-day program, an isometric program that he should do every day, an isotonic program that he should do every second day, and an explosive energy storage program that he should do every 3rd day. But this is so that adequate rest can happen in between programs and leave space for recovery. So already you can see it's very important for him to do specific programs on specific days. Now, using software that allows compliance reports to monitor which program he does on what day, the amount of rest in between programs, and the amount of times he actually did a program over a given period of time is very important. Let's look at this on Rehabit.
There are multiple ways to see if a patient has been compliant with their programs. Each time a patient views a program, you'll get a notification under the little bell icon. Don't worry, you won't get spammed with emails. It's just to let you know that they have been interacting with your programs. If you click on the notification, it will give you a breakdown of your patient's activity on the program over the past 90 days. The patient dashboard is also pretty useful for seeing activity. It shows a few stats, such as how many programs, views and metrics each patient has. It also shows the activity over the past 7 days. You can quickly see which patients have been active and which have not been. We'll select our patient and then head over to the programs that we've sent them. Each of these has a view counter next to it, so you can see how many times they've opened up the program. Finally, you can head over to the compliance report for a breakdown of activity across all their programs. You can also filter by program and over date range.
Now, looking at the barriers Al mentioned to non-compliance, we can actually become that social support to our patients by being actively engaged throughout the rehabilitation process.
We can also reduce confusion by providing multiple visual aids and clearer instructions for the patients. We can also adjust their programs to reduce any pain that they might have.
And as you have just seen, this is much easier to do with software.
Let's discuss the second challenge, data collection. Data collection starts from the initial evaluation. Clinical outcomes are measured in intervals from the first evaluation and in every re-evaluation that you do from there on. Patient-reported outcomes can be done on an ongoing basis. For example, each and every time that your patient does the exercise, you will get feedback on that exercise that he has done.
So this patient feedback is extremely important to track with most of our patients throughout the rehabilitation process to be able to regress or progress their programs accordingly. If we look at Patrick Teller, to be able to receive that feedback from him during exercises and to track his pain response post-exercise is also extremely important according to this article. This is to allow optimal treatment for him.
And even if you're helping large sports teams or multiple patients in your practice, it can become difficult to give your divided attention to all of those at the same time. You have to explain the exercises, you have to ensure that they're doing them correctly, and at the same time you have to still take notes if they're having pain or difficulty while doing any of these exercises. According to a study done by Higgins, using software that include features like goal setting and reviewing, performance measurements, and individually tailored feedback as well as progressions is associated with greater effectiveness. In another meta-analysis study done by Higgins, we saw that underactive adults over the age of 50 years, physical activity levels in a week more than doubled from 80 minutes to 178 minutes when these patients just got daily feedback, clear goal setting, and mobile device support.
Great, so by now you must understand how important it is to collect data and how easy it can be using software. I've given Patrick Teller a Visa P questionnaire that I want him to fill in for me once a month, as well as a specific exercise that I want him to log the pain he experiences on that exercise every time he does it. Let's see how that would reflect on his patient profile using Rehabit.
All the information collected from a patient is available under their patient's profile. Let's take a look at the questionnaires that our patient has submitted. He's filled in 3 Visa P questionnaires with varying results. We can open one of them to view the results in detail. It shows all the questions along with their scores and describes the pertinence with color codes. We can also see the feedback that was submitted for each program. These results are displayed under the VAS, RPE and comments reports respectively. The Visual Analog Scale report groups the logs by exercise and shows the progress on a chart. You can hover over the points for more detail or toggle the visibility of exercises to focus on a specific one. The comment report shows the text that the patient submitted, along with the program name, exercise name, and timestamp.
Now we have detailed information of our patient from his first evaluation until the day of his discharge. What do we do with that information? That leads us to our third challenge, reporting and comparing of the data. Why is comparison so important? We usually do a re-evaluation after intervention period. Testing and retesting gives you a clear direction of how your treatment plan is going. If your plan is unclear, your treatment strategy can become foggy and unspecific. That could lead to prolonged and suboptimal rehabilitation.
We make decisions by assessing the patient's symptoms and the data we have collected. Using the old data and comparing to the new data, we can see if our patient has improved and how to adjust the treatment plan. This becomes difficult with a paper-based system, making sure that the information you have collected does not just become a history log, but actually comparable data that you could use at a different stage. And what about reporting? Writing a convoluted report to a doctor or clinician reduces the chance for them to read it or understand it thoroughly. It is also difficult to report back to your patients or other healthcare professionals if your system for reporting or collecting that data is lacking. Manually writing these reports on a Microsoft Word or Excel system can take up effort and time. It is also tedious to try and do this without specialized tools. It increases the risk of your reports becoming difficult to read, difficult to understand or compare the data with, can't easily be visually demonstrated, or may contain too much information.
Keeping your patients updated on their progress will help with self-motivation and dedication to the treatment plan. When working in a multi-professional team, it's very important to send reports to all the other healthcare professionals about this patient so that everybody can be on the same page.
And using software that pulls the information gathered throughout the intervention period and allows you to create visually comparable reports helps you as a healthcare professional with informed decision making.
We have been rehabilitating Patrick Taylor for some time now. We gave him a questionnaire and some home programs to do. Let's see what a report would look like using Rehabit.
Let's use the data we have collected to build our report. Reports are based off evaluations. Usually we start off by creating an initial evaluation with a date and a diagnosis. Instead, let's view the ones we've created for our patellar tendinopathy patient. At the top, you will find a place for your patient's history and summary. The next block is for capturing observation and palpation information. For each observation, you can add notes and optional pain scores for the left side and right side, or side independent if that is the case. After that, you can fill in the pain provocation test by selecting an exercise from the library and filling in the pain scores. You can fill in this during the evaluation, but the metrics obtained from patient programs will automatically be pulled into their reports as well. There are a variety of special tests that can be selected. This also provides a place to add notes and pain scores for the left side, right side, or side independent, but we'll skip that for now. Clinical outcomes allows you to capture the test results for the left side, right side, and compare them to each other or to the norm. You can add your own tests under one of our 4 components: range of motion, flexibility, strength, or neuromuscular control. Let's create the report. The patient's information is displayed in the header. The history and summary are displayed and you can tweak them before downloading the report as a PDF. Our patient's Visa P results are displayed in the questionnaires chart. We can toggle the data to show or hide the chart. Their pain provocation results are displayed in the pain provocation chart. Here we can toggle which exercises to display. The clinical outcome findings are displayed in the clinical outcomes chart, and the details are displayed in the table below it. These values can also be toggled to show or hide specific results. This ensures that reports show only the relevant information and it doesn't become too cluttered. Finally, we can export the report as a PDF. Let's open it up. 2-page view and zoom in slightly. And now we have a nice report that shows the progression of your patient with visualization. We can send this to our patient and any other clinician that is involved.
So in conclusion, a paper-based system is still better than nothing, but it still has a couple of inherent problems. A good exercise prescription software should speed up your workload by automating repetitive tasks, by providing tools like an exercise library, a program builder, a program distributor, feedback, questionnaires, reporting, and so much more.
We are privileged enough to live in an era where we can use technology to our practice's advantage and to our patients' benefit. If you would like to know more about Rehabit, please visit our website or make contact with us via email. We would love to hear from you or even just discuss some of the challenges you've experienced in your profession. Thank you for watching this session. If you would like to own these videos and earn 10 CPD points, you can use this special coupon code when you purchase it to get 50% discount. We hope this could add value to your practice. Good luck, goodbye, and cheers.